Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining me for this WNCT Now digital news update. I'm Emily Severidge, live in the WNCT Digital Studio. Buckingham Palace announced that Prince Philip died earlier this morning at the age of 99. The tough-minded husband of Elizabeth II, Philip spent more than 7 decades supporting his wife in her role as Queen of England. Philip spent a month in the hospital earlier this year before being released on March 16th to return to Windsor Castle. Philip was given the title Duke of Edinburgh on his wedding day and spent his life as the Queen's consort. In 2009, he became the longest-serving consort in British history. Prince Philip is survived by his 4 children, 8 grandchildren, and 9 great-grandchildren. He passed peacefully at Windsor Castle. A Farmville man is facing a murder charge after a man was found dead following a car crash on Thursday. 27-year-old Jimmy Earl Spate of Farmville was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and shooting into an occupied vehicle. Deputies responded to 2842 King Farm Road to a vehicle crash where a person was ejected. 36-year-old Edmund J. Moore Jr. of Aurora was pronounced dead at the scene. He had been shot more than once. Spate is also being charged with first-degree forcible rape and first-degree kidnapping from a case back in March. Spate has been placed in the Pitt County Detention Center with no bond for the murder charge and $3 million secured bond for the rape charge. Well, vaccination cards will likely become a part of everyday life, especially when it comes to admissions to things like concerts, sporting events, shows, and more. But fake vaccine cards are already appearing on sale on online platforms like eBay and Twitter. The FBI is cracking down, saying this is a federal crime. Our sister station in San Francisco has more on this story.
As California continues to reopen, many indoor events will require proof of vaccination or a negative test, putting more pressure on those not vaccinated to get the shot. But whether they can't get an appointment or they're hesitant to get the vaccine altogether, we're likely to see people use fake vaccination cards. UCSF infectious disease expert Dr. Peter Chin Hong says those attempting to use fake vaccine cards are ultimately only hurting themselves.
I'm really worried, not just because of liability from a financial or prosecution perspective or liability in other ways, but really as a personal risk for getting COVID at a time when COVID is much more serious than 1 year ago with the new variants afoot.
Already, fake vaccine cards have popped up on some online platforms for sale, and federal and state authorities are now preparing to crack down on forged cards. 45 attorney generals across the country, including California's attorney general, recently sent a letter to the CEOs of Twitter, eBay, and Shopify asking the companies to help with the crackdown. In a statement to Cron 4 News on Wednesday, a Department of Justice spokesperson said, quote, "False and deceptive marketing and sales of these fake COVID vaccine cards on popular websites like eBay, Twitter, and Shopify only slow the progress of protecting Californians and all Americans from the virus. We urge these companies to take immediate action to prevent their platforms from being used to commit these deceptive acts." The FBI also issued a warning that it is illegal to sell or buy fraudulent coronavirus vaccination cards, and it will prosecute the distribution of forgeries as a federal crime. Moving forward for venues, this will become similar to another form of identification that they have to verify, but General Manager of DNA Lounge in San Francisco, Devin Dossett, says that might be difficult to do since the paper cards can easily be manipulated.
If that's what we have to do, we'll do it. I think it's not going to. I don't think it's going to work out the way they hope it is.
However, Dossett believes a lack of vaccinations won't be of concern for this city.
Bulk of San Francisco and Bay Area residents are getting vaccinated. We are way ahead of the curve.
There are talks right now on how to verify vaccination records digitally, but many worry that this will become an equity issue. The California Department of Public Health says they are assessing how our country and others abroad are doing this to arrive at an equitable and ethical solution to verify records digitally. In San Francisco, Taylor Bisacki, Cron 4 News.
Well, we have some
In downtown
weather for
Lincolnton,
your
just
Friday
2
heading
blocks
into
from
the
Main Street
weekend,
and this
and
historic
a story
building,
of a
a
mother
sharp
and daughter
secret was hidden in
finding
plain
a
sight.
century-old
The
pirate
iron
sword.
scabbard
That and more
of that
coming up
sword
after this
did
short
have an
break.
inscription on it.
Reporters are all across the East
in Beaufort County,
in Greenville,
in Belhaven,
and in your neighborhood,
in Morehead City, in Snow Hill, in New Bern,
In Jacksonville.
covering local stories that impact you.
Well, now a new project is in the works, a digital fabrication classroom, also known as a Fab Lab.
This is where Wildwood Adventure Park will be located, right along the Tar River.
Tossing your trash could bring a fine ranging from $200 to $4,000.
You can see behind me that the main part of that house is just charred. There are some pieces along the back that are actually completely black.
Wastewater samples will potentially help them spot coronavirus faster than some other efforts. They say it's all about keeping students safe.
The people of Robertsonville are upset over the town's troubled finances. The town's mayor tells me she's working to get things back on track.
See their original reporting weekdays on 9 on Your Side News or any.
Can happen day or night. When the weather changes, and it can be abrupt, we want to be that reliable team that says
We work together to make sure that everyone gets the best, most up-to-date, accurate forecast that we all can possibly give them.
We're not looking to cry wolf here. We're looking to inform. We're looking to keep people safe and in a relaxed, calm manner.
I think it's very important that we keep a message that doesn't frighten, it informs.
Storm Team 9, keeping you safe in severe weather.
Thanks so much for joining me. If you're just tuning in, I'm Emily Severidge, live in the WNCT Digital Studio, bringing you some afternoon updates. WNCT is bringing you live streamed updates every Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. to bring you the latest and up-to-date news before our nightly newscast. Now, this week has been a beautiful week of weather. I hope you got out there and enjoyed some of that sunny and warm weather, but we can expect some shower possibilities over the weekend. Storm Team 9 meteorologist Alex Wassilenko has that forecast for us.
TGIF and happy Bowtie Friday, everybody. I'm your Storm Team 9 meteorologist Alex Wassilenko reporting from the WNCT studios in the Storm Team 9 Weather Center. Things are going to get active by day's end as a stationary front collides with a cold front, likely producing some isolated showers and storms this afternoon, but more widely scattered about late tonight and through the overnight, so do your best to remain weather aware even after sunset. Heading into early Saturday morning, we dry out, and then it's a rinse and repeat forecast for Saturday afternoon, evening, and overnight. Some of those storms, though, on Saturday as the final frontal system blows through could become strong or even severe, more so than later this evening. So again, remain weather aware through at least the first half of the weekend. By Sunday, though, those showers and storms push out to sea, giving way to eventually a nicer Sunday afternoon. To track all the latest forecast changes, be sure to download that free Storm Team 9 weather app. And oh yeah, it'll help you to receive those severe weather alerts if there are any later today and through the first half of the weekend. Notice as those showers and storms rumble through, temperatures will remain warm through the weekend in the low 80s, but as the final front passes out to sea Sunday through early Monday, temperatures, they bounce back to reality, back into the lower to middle 70s, but at least it'll come with a good deal of sunshine and drier weather both Monday and Tuesday, even a new cool down by the middle parts of next work week. Make it a fantastic Friday and a wonderful upcoming weekend, everyone. I'm your Storm Team 9 meteorologist, Alex Wassilenko.
They say it's the first in the world, a floating fire station being built off of San Francisco's Embarcadero, The new station is located behind Engine 35, a century-old building that firefighters say they've outgrown. It can move with the tide, sustain an earthquake, and hold more state-of-the-art equipment. Construction began a while ago overseas. The old original building isn't going anywhere. It will still house the fire truck, but the boats and personnel will move to the new floating station. They hope to be there by the end of the summer. Now, there is a state legend about an infamous pirate who terrorized the coast, and he lived a secret life just down the road in Lincoln County. Our sister station in Charlotte introduces us to two women who believe they've solved a century-old mystery.
In downtown Lincolnton, just 2 blocks from Main Street and this historic building, a sharp secret was hidden in plain sight.
The iron scabbard of that sword
did have an inscription on it. That inscription, hand-signed, was J.N. Lafitte.
Jean Lafitte was a notorious pirate near New Orleans in the early 1800s. Yul Brynner played him in the 1950s film The Buccaneer. And kids of the 70s might remember this Captain Crunch commercial with a parody version of Lafitte serving as a villain. But at his peak, Lafitte ran his own criminal empire in the Gulf of Mexico.
At one point, he had a fleet of over 100 ships and a crew of men ranging in probably over 1,000.
So what is a sword that allegedly belonged to a notorious French pirate doing here in Lincolnton, North Carolina? Well, some scholars believe that Lafitte himself lived here under a secret identity.
There was a price on his head from many different quarters.
Beth Yarbrough and her daughter, Professor Ashley Oliphant, recently wrote a book about Lafitte. They believe he faked his own death and through a series of his connections with the Freemasons, somehow ended up in Lincolnton.
In 1839, a mysterious man, a Frenchman, arrived in Lincolnton named Lorenzo Ferrer.
The evidence took us to the cemetery behind St. Luke's Episcopal Church in downtown Lincolnton.
He brought with him that mystery, and no one could ever quite figure it out. But even in his time in Lincolnton, there was speculation that he was potentially Jean Lafitte the pirate.
The mother-daughter duo say Ferrer lived a quiet life in town for more than 30 years. Eventually, he died at the age of 95. But through handwriting samples, correspondence tracked down in dusty libraries, and that small little inscription on the sword, that's led them to believe that they've solved this local legend for good.
This evidence is compelling enough to convince us that Lorenzo Ferrer really was Jean Lafitte the pirate.
In Lincolnton, Ryan Kruger, Fox 46.
Well, that is going to wrap up this WNCT Now afternoon update. I'll be back again at 4 o'clock with another update for you before our nightly newscast, so be sure and stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful Friday.